One, two, three. I think we are live. Let me adjust this down a little bit if I can. Hey guys, long time no see. I'm in my new place, as you can see behind me. I live in a fairy forest. That is a fairy tree. Um, yeah, I have a nice little setup here. I actually started painting these little figures again too, which I haven't done in a long time. I spent a little bit of money and bought these guys, Witch Hunters, from Mordheim, a very old game that no one plays anymore, but I really enjoyed painting them, so got back into that. I haven't had a hobby in a while, but me and my last girlfriend, Stephanie, split up. We no longer communicate whatsoever. she I was out of work for about a week, and I had another job I was starting um, the coming Monday. And whenever I go out to pick up a pack of cigarettes, she decides to have this little Groder guy, this little meth head dude named Brandon, come and change the locks on the door, even though I paid almost all of the rent for that place and bought all this furniture that she got to keep. It is absolutely embarrassing, the situation she created for herself. Because I'm not going to not get my stuff. So I actually went into the house while the guy was changing the locks, and she was like, "You can't come in." And I'm like, "Bullshit, I can't come in. I'm the one who signed the lease for this apartment and did all of the house hunting to get this place, paid the deposit in the first month's rent." I really thought that I was in a happy, good place with this chick, too. I was really excited to have a partner in life again, but alas, women cannot be trusted. So this is a personal note. I'm no longer seeing anybody. I'm devoting 100% of my money to me, myself, saving up and growing my savings, investing in cryptocurrency, just really working to put myself in a better situation 10 years down the road, so that eventually I can have access to my children again, because I miss them so fucking much. And I know it's hard to say this, but I actually miss my ex as well. She's been on my mind a lot, even though she was not a very good person to me, and I wasn't a very good person to her, and we didn't work really well together. I still think about her every fucking day. We were best friends for 16 years, you know. But that's enough about my personal life. I just figured you should know what. Oh yeah, I changed jobs now too. I actually make a lot of money and work in a laboratory now, producing products out of cannabis that people like to consume, such as gummies and waxes and things of this nature. Um, I come home with hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of CBD plastered to me. Lots of chemicals, lots of beakers, I work in a laboratory. It's really exciting. In fact, I really enjoy the people I work with too. Unlimited breaks, smoke on the job. It's kind of fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. The best part about it is the girl I've been talking to recently. Yeah, she works there, and she's pretty awesome. But I'm really to this point in my life where I'm not going to allow myself to be put in the clutches of these temptresses anymore. I can't allow myself to spend money on things that don't benefit me. And I do a lot of it for companionship and for the closeness of another human being, for the dopamine, for the oxytocin, for the sex. I mean, to be honest with you. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm devoting 100% of my energy to myself. So that's where I'm at right now in life. I really enjoy my new job. I really enjoy my new place, my new roommates. I got a new car. I'm making things work. And you might be able to hear my roommate in the background. He's playing some live Xbox Destiny, and he gets pretty rowdy, so you might hear him occasionally. But yeah, let's go over some news together, okay? We haven't done that in a while. So this gigantic skull was found in China. This is from 1933. Apparently it was thrown down a well in China. And wow, I guess you won't be able to see this very well unless I wonder if you guys can see this well enough to read it. If not, I'll check back over this video after I get done recording it, and I'll record it again. But I'll at least read it to you. Wonder if I can... Oh well, I'll figure out how to make this legible later. Is anybody watching? Hey, one person watching. If you have access to chat, say something so I can see who you are. Zoom. Sorry about the downtime. Oh, new microphone as well. I thought that was kind of fancy. Let's see. The Chinese researchers believe that the Harbin skull is distinct enough to make it a new species. So this is a new species of hominid that was discovered in China. It was thrown down a well in 1933. And it was compared to 95 other hominid skulls. It's really hard to estimate the height, but the massive head should match a height higher than the average of modern humans. The brain size is 1,420 milliliters, which is close to the 1,500 of Neanderthal, and greater capacity in the brain than modern humans. So his brain case is larger, does allow for more volume than an average human. And based on how big the skull is, it is pretty safe to say that it is definitely a larger species than Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, etc. They do believe that it could be Denisovan remains. Possibility. Denisovans are native to Asia, so this is a distinct possibility. But this raises a lot of concerns about human evolution. The reason that the Smithsonian destroyed all of the giant skeletons that they acquired was to preserve this idea of Darwinian evolution. So that's thrown out the window. Okay, they've created Wigner crystals, finally. These are crystals that are laid out with nothing but electrons. In a practical application, these Wigner crystals can be used for quantum computing, specifically quantum processors. You're talking about a chip that, with the help of a quantum computer itself, could allow us to read data from the quantum realm, which is a fluidic mix of all of these webbed together multiverses of all these various possibilities. These Wigner crystals that we've finally created, at least allowed the public to see that we've created, are out there. This is the holy grail for quantum computing. This was Eugene Wigner is a person who proposed this back in 1934, I want to say. Yeah, 1934. So these are quantumly locked electron-based quantum crystals. Like I said, practical applications used for computing with quantum computers. And as you know, quantum computers are much better at making gigantic, simultaneous clusters of information retrieval from the multiverse, basically. Instead of running one application and then another application after that and then another application after that, instead of computing like in a linear fashion, you're computing simultaneously. All of this information being processed at the same time, using the multiverse as your blockchain, to put it in terms you might be able to understand. Like I said, this is extremely important. We've probably had the Wigner crystals since the 1950s, but this has been a secret technology that has not been shared. In the 1980s is when I believe the first quantum AI computer was created by IBM, using a quantum computer under the Dallas site. So now, since this information has finally been released and allowed out to the public, we can see how it affects quantum computing moving forward. We'll go back to Yellowstone, and we'll start with this. What you see here is a nanowire matrix of little tiny carbon filaments that, when stimulated with electricity, too much electricity, and they harden and become solid and basically a wire. Whenever this matrix of free-floating pieces of carbon, little tiny millimeter pieces of carbon, are not stimulated with electricity, they act completely randomly. But whenever you inject just the right amount of electricity, they start to behave in a way that mimics the human brain and its system of synapses and neurons firing from one leg of the synapses to another. These carbon filaments start to behave like synapses in the brain, allowing information to jump from one side of the carbon filament to clear a gap in space or in a medium, and then go to the other side of the carbon lattice. They think that using this method of keeping these carbon filaments in a medium that is stimulated by the right amount of electricity, you can create a system that is on the edge of chaos and order, and it behaves in ways that are predictable, and they begin to look an awful lot like a human brain. They think that this solution of carbon filaments suspended in a medium secured by a vacuum could be used to create some of the first artificial AI brains. Artificial brains for artificial intelligence. Right now, all of the effort for computing is going into hardware and software that is of traditional or quantum nature, but this is more of a silicon-based brain that works the way that a brain works, that works the way that a human chunk of gray matter works, but instead in packets of carbon that are stimulated with as much electricity as the human brain. In fact, they think that our brain, that because of these recent achievements in science, they think that this is how our brain develops its synapses, through a electrochemical state of chaos verging on order, and order verging on chaos. So this is one step closer to an AI that has an actual physical brain. Last thing we're going to talk about is Yellowstone National Park. Another big pool of carbon. This time it's not in a brain like our last little news article, but this carbon is suspended underground inside of a huge reservoir that covers most of the northwest of the United States of America. A basin of molten carbon and quartz, a piezoelectric substance under a lot of pressure, thus generating a lot of electricity. I believe that Yellowstone itself is one gigantic computing brain of a nano-robotic artificial intelligence using carbon nanobots as its body, for lack of a better word. Yellowstone is how I believe that the next age is ushered in. And it is really filling up with swarm after swarm after swarm of earthquakes. The strongest one for the month of June was a 3.1, but they measured over 1,100 earthquakes during the month of June. Typically, you only have about 3,000 earthquakes in Yellowstone per year. So having over 1,100 in 1 month in 4 huge swarms is unprecedented. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been putting a lot of prayers out there towards Yellowstone, especially after me and Stephanie split up. So it's ramping up. We will see in other news, we will see a easing up of COVID restrictions despite the Delta variant moving into California. I don't think that we're going to see California shut back down again. However, the Great Reset is in full swing, so be prepared for anything at this point. We'll see inflation continue to rise, the dollar and its buying power continuing to decline. We'll see cryptocurrencies. They're right now in a dip, but we'll see them start to move up further and further, increasing their likelihood of becoming a digital currency so that they can turn on and off your ability to buy and sell at the push of a button, making a lot of the ancient prophecies finally fulfilled. This cryptocurrency-based monetary system is something that they are trying to turn from fictional into reality, into non-fiction. Right now, it's an idea, and it does have value because it has an idea that is shared amongst a collective of people. Basically, its belief in itself is what keeps it alive, much like the dollar. However, we'll start to see cryptocurrencies in the near future that have other applications as well, songs attached to them, etc., NFTs. We'll see a lot of push for digital currencies over the next year as we see the dollars and its buying power continue to decline. We will not see a raise in the minimum wage in America, but we will see a sharp decline in the ability for $1 to purchase everyday items. Gas is at $3.30 where I live. Milk is more expensive. Lumber, hell, you have to take out a mortgage in order to add an addition to your house because it's like $40,000 in lumber to add on 1 bedroom right now, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's 4 times higher than it has been, than it was under Trump. We'll start to see a lot of changes moving forward in our ability to communicate over platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They monitor everything that you do over Twitter. All of your DMs can be made public at any time by the moderators of Twitter. And all I think it takes is one hacker to publish all of your DMs. And it's really easy to hack Twitter. These communication methods, though they might be convenient, they're not very secure. So remember to have decentralized communication methods as well. This is extremely important. Moving forward, make sure you have the ability to communicate through an encoded means over the next year. Don't trust any big corporations. You might have to download this off of the dark web. So learn how to use Tor, .onions, etc. But yep, I'm done ranting right now. Save up precious metals, gold, silver, copper, which is also a precious metal because it has industrial applications. It can be used from anything from water pipes to wires in your house to Ethernet cables. So all this stuff is extremely important. Precious metals, precious stones, water filters. Save up food. Make sure every time you go to the grocery store to buy a couple of extra cans. Vacuum sealed bags. Generating your own electricity however you can do that, whether it's through a bicycle connected to an alternator, connected to a truck battery to run something small, to having your whole house on solar or a wind turbine. Definitely look at your ability to generate power off the grid, because our grid is under extreme attack. They say it's things like cyber terrorists and people who are taking these companies hostage and instituting basically malware schemes across the United States. They've done this for meat processing plants, for oil pipelines. They will continue. This idea of cyber warfare is something that's going to ramp up over the rest of the year. So, like I said, have your ability to communicate, your ability to provide power for yourself. And for God's sakes, get a VPN, a virtual private network. That way you can communicate without using your IP address. So, yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to go over and talk about. The gigantic skull that was found in China, proving that the idea of evolution that Darwin sets out isn't the complete picture of how evolution works. And 2 more steps towards artificial intelligence in the public domain. So yeah, it was fun talking to you guys again. I really missed talking to you guys. Now that I have this set up and I no longer have a girlfriend to occupy my time, I will be able to put out a lot more videos. So moving forward, every day I'm going to put out a video at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. So look forward to that. 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Every day I'm going to look at the news, see what's interesting, and we can do a video. And hopefully we can build these viewing audiences up a little bit more than 1 viewer at a time. I plan on doing this show daily, and I'm going to continue to learn how to use Streamlabs so I can have this a little more interactive on your end as well. I'm not sure if the chat box feature even works because no one's typed anything. So that may or may not work. I'm going to keep messing around with OBS and see if there's anything else I can do to make this more seamless and more professional on my end. Probably will end up moving some monitors around, or at least the microphone, because right now I have to do this in order to read the monitor, which is right here, but this is much better. I wish I could do it from this monitor. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to check this video out and watch till the end. If you watch till the end, let me know in the comments. I always appreciate that. You guys are amazing, awesome. I love you all. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Oh, cool. The chat does work. Mary Mandolin. Good to see you, Mary. I'm glad that at least one person, as long as one person watches, that's enough for me to continue doing this. So I'm glad that it is the 13th disciple. Well, everybody, have a wonderful night. Happy 4th of July to all of you patriots out there. And if you're not a patriot, have a good night anyways.